Hello, and welcome to the webinar, 3 Ways Your Data Can Help You Be Prepared for Cyber Threats. My name is Eric Wallace with Argyle, and it's great to have everyone joining us today. I have a few administrative details to share with you, then I'll turn things over to our esteemed speaker. First, we'd like to thank Rubrik for their partnership with today's event. They've been wonderful thought partners to Argyle, and they're committed to providing you with valuable content and a great overall experience. Thank you again to Rubrik. We appreciate you joining us today. We welcome you to stay connected during today's event. For those of you who are active tweeters, please follow us on Twitter at Argyle Exec Forum, and be sure to follow Argyle on LinkedIn for special announcements. I also wanted to take a moment to touch on our content neutrality policy, which we've curated based on the feedback we've received over the years from our members. We've worked closely with our speaking faculty to ensure that you receive a set of balanced and neutral viewpoints during the session today, and we appreciate our members' support of this policy. Finally, and most importantly, we want to hear from you, so please submit all questions that come up during today's event into the chat section of the interface. Following the discussion, we've set aside some time for our speaker to weigh in on your questions. Without further delay, I'd like to introduce our speaker. Today we have Srujana Puttaganta, who is Senior Product Marketing Manager at Rubrik. Welcome, Srujana. Over to you.
Thank you, Rick. Let me just share my screen and we'll get started. Perfect. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this session on how your data can help you prepare against ransomware and other cyber threats. My name is Srujana, and I'm a Senior Product Marketing Manager at Rubrik, and I'm excited to show you what I have in store today, so let's get started. We're living in a world today where data is at the heart of everything we do, and organizations are increasingly adopting cloud services and SaaS applications, which is great, but this also has made it even more challenging to manage and secure data. In fact, according to a 2022 Sophos survey, 66% of organizations were hit with ransomware in the last year, and this highlights the severity of the issue. And it doesn't really help that cyber criminals are becoming more and more advanced in their methods, and this makes it really important for organizations to protect their data. And we have seen that organizations have invested so much in infrastructure security tools, but the fact is that attackers are still able to penetrate into the layers of defenses and access their data. And if cyber criminals are getting through to the data, they can take the data down, and with that, they can take down the entire business. And many organizations are still relying on legacy backup as their last resort cybersecurity option. And these systems often lack the critical security features, and they're not designed to protect against modern cyber threats. And here are a few reasons why legacy backup cannot be trusted for cyber defense. Number one, legacy backups are vulnerable to cyber attacks. And this is because organizations that use legacy backup likely have open storage protocols, which can expose their data to unauthorized access and manipulation by hackers. And this is particularly a problem when it's coupled with Windows operating systems and multi-factor authentication that's not been deployed or enforced. And without proper authentication and access controls, cyber attackers can exploit vulnerabilities in these systems and gain unauthorized access to sensitive data and ultimately compromise an organization's security posture. Number two, legacy backups do not provide any insights or visibility into what data is at risk and what has been affected during a cyber attack. And this makes organizations unable to respond as quickly as they need to. And the task of determining what data has been lost or compromised can be a very manual and time-consuming process, and it can take weeks or even months to complete, extending costly downtime. Number three, legacy backups were designed to restore individual files, virtual machines, databases from a known point in time. They already know what to recover. And it's mostly associated with a disaster, right? Like earthquakes or fire hazards. But with cyber recovery, it's very different. It can be incredibly challenging to determine what to restore when the attack occurred. We don't know how far the bad actor went and the extent of the damage they caused. And this piecing together of information is very time consuming, and it can significantly delay the recovery process. Number four, legacy backups do not offer protection against the reinfection of malware. In a cyber recovery scenario, restoring backups that contain malware already to a clean environment can trigger the attack all over again and potentially cause even more damage and data loss. And the aftermath of such an attack can be very devastating for organizations and cause them to lose more money and customer trust for years to come. And so, as you can see, legacy backup tools and processes are not well suited or even designed for IT and security teams to prepare for ransomware and to quickly recover when they're attacked. When a cyber attack occurs, organizations need to be able to answer crucial questions like, was the backup itself compromised? Can we quickly recover the malware, find the malware, and can we quickly find the last clean snapshot to recover from? And can we quickly recover just what we need, not all of the data? If these questions cannot be answered, then the time to recover is huge. And in most cases, it takes several months, and the costs of recovery are also very huge. So where do we go from here? We at Rubrik believe that analytics and automation are crucial to cover good recovery time objectives and recovery point objectives. And tackling cyber attacks is not something that can be handled manually. Technology actually plays a big role. And analytics can actually do the heavy lifting for us. And things like identifying the last known clean snapshot, preventing malware from reinfecting systems, scanning for indicators of compromise, and pinpointing where we need to go. All of this is very crucial during cyber recovery. And so automation is also very important in quickly restoring infected systems and to help us restore just what we need to restore. This is very essential in reducing the downtime and getting back to business as usual. So, given the challenges of the current cyber landscape and traditional backup systems, we need a new approach to securing data, one that provides security at the point of data to keep data safe and recover it faster. And this is why data security is the answer. It helps IT and security teams defend data from cyber attacks so data remains safe and available at all times. And data security combined with infrastructure security is the way to fully secure data and defend it against cyber attacks. Now let's look at these three pillars of data security. The first is data resilience. Imagine having the power to cyberproof your backup data. This includes securing all your data from insider threats and ransomware attacks. It's like having an impenetrable shield around your valuable data, keeping it safe no matter what. And the second one is data observability. What if you could continuously monitor and investigate data risks with advanced analytics and automation? And that means being able to detect ransomware, sensitive data exposure, indicators of compromise, meaning you will be one step ahead of any potential threats, and you'll be able to recover and respond quickly to any cyber incident. And last but not the least, data remediation. What if you could recover just the data you need quickly and efficiently while avoiding malware to reinfect your data? This means minimizing your downtime, minimizing data loss, and ensuring a very swift recovery in case of an attack. So what if I told you we had a solution that does all of this and more? So I'm introducing Rubrik Security Cloud today, and Rubrik Security Cloud is a data security platform built upon a unique backup architecture specifically designed for cyber recovery. It is built with zero trust principles by design, and it empowers you to keep your data safe and continuously monitor risks with analytics and automation and recover just what you need with speed and confidence. Now let's look at how Rubrik supports the first pillar of data security, which is data resilience. Using Rubrik, you can be confident that your critical data is safe from deletion, compromise, and encryption. How is that possible? It's possible through air-gapped, immutable, access-controlled backups, and these technologies enable you to withstand cyber attacks, malicious insiders, and any other operational disruptions. Data is always stored in an immutable format, and it cannot be read, modified, or deleted. And your backed up data is always logically air-gapped, so it's offline and cannot be accessed through standard network protocols. And all the system interfaces are secure. They're role-based, least privileged, and protected by multi-factor authentication. And lastly, data is always encrypted in flight and at rest, and it is stored in a purpose-built append-only file system. Now let's look at the second pillar. So Rubrik also helps organizations fight against ransomware, and it does that by capturing a long history of data and its metadata as well. So it scans hundreds of snapshots and generates signals that are analyzed by machine learning, and it uses AI and ML to find the changes to the data. In short, it helps you determine the scope of ransomware attacks and how far the bad actor went. Next, it analyzes data anomalies, and this helps you reduce your sensitive data exposure and manage data exfiltration risk by discovering what types of sensitive data you have within your backups, where it lives, who has access to it, all of that. And finally, Rubrik also provides threat monitoring and threat hunting services, and this helps you prevent malware reinfection. And it does this by analyzing your history of data for indicators of compromise. And once it analyzes your data, it identifies the initial point and scope of attack, time of infection, and this helps you to actually recover from a clean copy from before the attack occurred. Super helpful stuff. And the last pillar is data remediation. And when it comes to data remediation, Rubrik makes it easier for organizations to recover their data quickly, and it helps reduce downtime and restore business operations quickly. And how does it do this? Like I said, it looks for indicators of compromise and backup data and analyzes your snapshots to identify clean, uninfected snapshots for recovery. And it also simplifies and automates the whole recovery orchestration process for you. And it does that by providing failover and failback testing for disaster recovery. And it helps you create and execute recovery plans and recover to the most recent clean state of backup. And it also helps you simulate your cyber recovery workflows, meaning you can test and validate your recoveries in advance, so you're prepared for the worst case scenario. So this way you can rest assured that your data is safe and ready to recover quickly in the event of a cyber attack. So feel free to check out our industry analyst reports. We are proud to be recognized as a leader across several dimensions and capabilities, and it's a privilege for us to work with organizations like yours. And so with that, we come to the end of the presentation, and thank you so much for taking the time to attend this webinar. We would love for you to check out our website for more information on the capabilities we discussed today. Thanks again. I'd like to pass it back to Eric.
Thanks, Srijana. Just as a reminder, audience members can still enter questions, and now we're going to review some of the questions that have come in. The first question is, we are struggling to become a more resilient organization, but don't know where to start. Do you have any advice for us?
Yeah, so at the most basic level, it's really about increasing your preparedness from data breaches. And the best way to do this is through zero trust principles. And this includes first identifying which assets are business critical. And this includes applications, databases, infrastructure assets. And the next step is to assess them for risk exposure. And this can be accomplished faster with automated discovery tools, combined with frequent reviews with your stakeholders. And that way you can determine what are the SLA policies that you need to assign for each of these. How can you address different levels of criticality and risk? And then also making sure that your backups are safe and secure, meaning they should be immutable, which means they cannot be modified or encrypted. Making sure that your backups are air-gapped, meaning they're cut off from any network and protected from unauthorized access. I think those are table stakes for any organization. And another important aspect of preparedness is to make sure that your data protection status is visible for all workloads. And this means adopting solutions that can give you analytics on your data. And finally, also making sure that your cyber recovery playbooks and processes have been defined so that when an attack actually happens, you are prepared and you know the process to follow. And this makes a huge difference in making cyber recoveries quicker and more effective.
Great, thank you. The next question is, what's the biggest mistake you've seen companies make in trying to prevent ransomware attacks, and how did they get past it?
Yeah, so I think I covered this in the presentation as well. And I think the biggest mistake that organizations are still making is using traditional backup and recovery solutions that are outdated and are not designed to protect against sophisticated attacks like ransomware. So the traditional backup solutions were mostly designed for disaster recovery scenarios, which is very different from a cyber attack scenario. And attackers are increasingly targeting backup data these days, meaning they can encrypt all of that backup data, making it impossible to recover data without paying the ransom. Another common mistake is also failing to test backup and recovery processes regularly. This is also another drawback of traditional backup systems, where they don't provide organizations with the capability to simulate and test their recovery process. And so organizations are having to rely on luck or chance to restore their systems. And that leads to data loss and downtime, reputational damage, etc. And to overcome this, organizations should consider implementing modern data security solutions that specifically integrate ransomware detection and recovery capabilities, and solutions that use machine learning algorithms to detect ransomware activity and help you spread the prevent the spread of the attack, sorry. And these solutions should also help you easily perform recovery testing and validation so that you're prepared to recover with confidence in the event of a cyber attack.
Great, thank you. The next question is, how do you think ransomware prevention and mitigation is going to evolve over the next couple of years?
Great question. So one of the biggest trends that we're seeing, and I think this is definitely going to be something that's going to evolve, we're going to see organizations adopt this more and more in the next few years, is the adoption of Zero Trust. Zero Trust has emerged as a critical security strategy that helps you tackle massive problems around data protection, asset protection, and it helps you understand what you're protecting, and it gives you a roadmap to get you there. And so over the next couple of years, we can expect to see more organizations adopt Zero Trust to minimize the attack surface and prevent unauthorized access to critical data. And the other thing is that until now, there's been a huge gap between IT and security teams where there was not much of an interaction between them, and they had their own separate point solutions to approach the problem. But that model isn't really working anymore. Organizations are looking towards implementing security into all of their applications and architectures, and IT teams are getting more and more involved in incident response. So we can expect to see increased collaboration and sharing of threat intelligence between those two teams to understand what exactly is happening from an insider perspective and from an external threat actor perspective as well. And the last thing that I will say is, as ransomware attacks continue to evolve and become more advanced, organizations will need solutions that are specifically designed to detect and recover from ransomware attacks. And this is because of two reasons. One is that the perimeter security solutions do not work anymore. And legacy backup solutions are outdated. They're not designed to protect against cyber attacks. And as I mentioned earlier, we need to adopt solutions that leverage machine learning and AI. And I think that's going to be a big trend that we're going to see over the next few years, which is more and more solutions that give us proper visibility into data risk and help us prevent the spread of the attack.
Great, thank you. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for questions today, but thank you for such an insightful session and an excellent webinar. This concludes today's session, and I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today for this excellent virtual event. And thank you again to our partner, Rubrik, and enjoy the rest of your day.